Welcome to the November 12th Retirement Board meeting. We're a little late today due to technical difficulties. With us in person, we have Tatiana Swanson. We have Jay Steves. And via Zoom, we have Robert Merles and John Kowicki. We also have via Zoom specialist Elizabeth Milch, and Jacob Cole, the administrator, is with us via Zoom today. And of course, I am the chair, Michelle Valancourt. Again, welcome. Let's start off with the first thing on the agenda, which is to approve the October board meeting minutes. Any questions, concerns?
Motion to accept, except I take exception to the fact that you marked me absent when I was there. You couldn't put me on, so I will take that up with Perak and see where that goes. Although it's not a big deal because it's only my first absence for the year. We only got one, unless I die before the next meeting, I'll be within the legal limit. But I do make a motion to accept.
May I ask a question real quick? I want to make sure the record's correct. So when you say you were there, were you able to at least listen to us, Bob, but not participate?
That's right.
Okay, because we can amend the minutes to show that you were present.
That's fine.
You can actually state that he was present as a participant, but wasn't able to join as a panelist.
I can put that in there, then we wouldn't have to do a whole new minutes for next meeting.
Okay, motion to accept.
Second.
Second by Mr. Steves. Roll call vote, Mrs. Steves? Ms. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Kowicki?
Yay.
Mr. Merles?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Second on the agenda is the October membership changes. Any questions, concerns?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote, Mrs.
Yes.
Steves? Mrs. Swanson?
Yes.
Mr. Kowicki?
Yay.
Mr. Merles?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Third on the agenda is the October payroll warrant. Any questions, concerns?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Steves, Mrs. Swanson,
Yes.
Mr. Kowicki,
Yay.
Mr. Merles,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Fourth on the agenda, the November expense warrant. Any questions, concerns?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Roll call vote, Mr. Steves?
Yes.
Mrs. Swanson,
Yes.
Mr. Kowicki,
Yay.
Mr. Merles,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Fifth on the agenda, can we have the things to sign too, please?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Fifth on the agenda, we have the September operating statement. Any questions or concerns?
Well, it looks like we've gained 30 million since January 1st, approximately. More than half of that was employer and employee contributions. So far this year, the Dow is up 12.7, the NASDAQ up 21.5. And S&P is up 16, and if the current trend prevails, we should have a good year. I will note that 7 out of the last 12 months the management fees were $150,000, which is outrageous. But you don't seem to be interested in that. Do we need a vote to accept this?
No, we do not need a vote to accept it.
Mr. Merles, I'm curious, were you satisfied with their explanation on the management fees?
I never saw them. Nobody ever sent them to me. Did they send them ahead of the meeting?
No, they did not.
Yeah, they're just playing the game.
I'm sorry, I thought you were able to listen in on that meeting.
I wasn't, at that point, it went off.
Hold on, I think I'm getting myself confused. These minutes, are they for the emergency meeting we had, Jake?
No, they are not.
So we do need those minutes as well.
And I will bring those right down, and actually I'll send them right after the minute, but we can put them on the agenda to vote on those at the next meeting.
Yeah, okay, so then, Mr. Merles, I was just curious, so you did not hear, when the representative from Prick came to talk about the management fees, you were not present for that?
No, I did not.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. All right, thank you.
Okay, we are looking at the statements here. Any remarks on the September, prim statement? No? Okay, moving forward then. We are on page 19. We're looking at the September bank reconciliation.
I think at this point, you know, we have some interest in both of those accounts, and we talked about it in the past. We have
Mhm.
some excess from the $1.8 million that we didn't spend. And I would like to see, like in the February meeting, a number for the year for 2025 that we could send to Crit or reinvest. Is that possible?
Okay. You said for the February meeting, Bob?
Yeah, you know, it's, I think the February meeting, that would give the administration time to come up with that number.
Okay, so we will have that on the agenda. Jake, for the February meeting, the board will vote on how much money to transfer back to Brit for out of the payroll account and out of the, operating account.
And then we can determine how we're gonna do it. The last time we did it, it took almost 3 months to wire transfer the money to them. I suggest that we write a check and just send it through the normal lockbox procedure, which should probably take 5 or 6 days rather than 60 or 70 days.
Yeah, I just think there was a little, sidestep on communication the last time, so we'll just make sure that,
Well,
if
you know,
the treasurer at that point, the treasurer is aware, or Diane is aware too, so that she can transfer it within the week. If we do it.
yeah,
that way.
well, I think it was very cumbersome process. And, you know, in the treasurer's defense, I mean, we had new treasurers, and she actually had to go to the bank to make the wire transfer, which is absolutely ridiculous. But we'll see how that all works. We can
Yeah.
talk about that then.
Sure. Okay, so that's looking at the payroll statement. I'm moving to page 23, which is the operating fund statement. Again, the ending balance in that is 7.6 million, and the payroll is 2.6 million. So there is a good chunk of change that can definitely go back to Brit.
I guess it could be as much as 1.5 million or 2 million. I may be off on that.
There, I need to say that, so because Pritt stopped off when we used to send the checks that we received down to Bank New York Mellon in Pittsburgh,
Uh-huh,
we deposit those to, the bank ourselves, bank. And then, I have to give Diane, so every check that has come in, we have tracked. And
uh-huh.
then we're to give Diane that number to transfer into the Pritt statement. So that transfer will be done this week, providing Diane has a time, but it shouldn't be very heavy lifting for just a wire transfer. But that's what Pritt instituted about a month ago. Diane does know about that.
Oh. Whatever happened to the lockbox study? Did,
Well, that's one thing to reduce the float. That will help, certainly. So it's actually an advantageous thing. At least that's the way Marty and I view it. So, and besides, it also reduces the possibility of a check, going down to Pittsburgh and getting lost in the mail, or just any delayed processing.
yeah,
Where,
well, as long as there's a more convenient way of doing it now,
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. We get the checks usually on Thursdays or Fridays. On my lunch break, I usually take them to the bank,
well,
and then we just have to have Diane do the transfer for us.
we come up with a number, the board approves it, and the mechanics is up to you.
Well, what you guys are starting to refer back to is the surplus that has amassed in the
Yeah.
account, but that's a different thing from what I'm explaining.
So Jay, what are you talking, are you talking about that 284,000 deposit on 10-9?
Yes, and there's
Okay,
been a
and
couple. There's been a few of them, Michelle.
Okay, and then
Where'd that come
So
from?
you've been depositing that there, but there hasn't been any money transferred to Pritt out of
Correct.
there, and you said it's been stopped.
Correct.
What about
Correct.
the payroll account? What's the deposit for the 3,900 in the payroll account?
Oh, that's when someone changes a bank without telling us, which happens not every month. It happens throughout the year, probably 2 or 3 times a month. When someone neglects to tell us that sometimes it's like a daughter or son or what have you, but that's an ACH return for when we pay our payroll. Not
Yeah.
you should be accustomed to this on your end as
Yes,
well.
I am.
Yes, so that's what
Okay,
that
I just didn't
represents.
think it showed up as a deposit. I thought it showed up as a bounced ACH. That's why I was inquiring.
Yeah, and then we call the person and we say,
Right.
usually they call us, but believe it or not, sometimes they don't know that they didn't, maybe they're in a good position in life, but sometimes they don't call us, but yet I still know that their direct deposit for their pension failed. So,
Right.
we use due diligence and courtesy to call people. And then we usually find out, someone usually will say, oh, thank you so much. My daughter must have changed my bank account. She helps me with things and stuff like that.
It happens. Okay,
So we're looking at, we're on, so we're on page 26, the October reconciliation. Jake, I just wanted to, so this is the expense, and then, following that is the payroll. One of the things the auditors had said to me was that, whoever prepares the reconciliation, that name should be there. And you have both you and Marty's name on the reconciliation, so whoever
Yeah,
really did it, that's who should be on it.
Yes, we're well aware of that. Before some of you came on board, John and Bob are aware of this. So the treasurer, and that's one of the reasons why a treasurer receives a stipend, when we have a stable one, I suppose. But as they're the custodian of our accounts, one of the things that they're supposed to do in Chapter 32 are reconciliations of the retirement accounts. And that was always not done. So for good, stewardship and good fiduciary policy, from my experience as a controller at Babson College, I quickly, when Marty and I sat, I said, Marty, can you show me the reconciliations and where we are with things, or the accounts and balance and so forth? And he said they are, but reconciliations, we haven't been given them. So I said,
I understand that, Jake, but what I'm saying is whoever does the reconciliation, that's the name that should be on the bottom. The fact that you're reviewing it, your name doesn't need to be on it. You can
Yes,
sign off
Michelle.
on it, but you don't need to have your name on it. That's
Michelle,
what the auditors told me.
Michelle, I was actually just trying to give you a little context to the situation, but we're well aware of that. But for the board, we'd like to present, and I think so just consider that an internal reconciliation on behalf of the office for the board, to show the board that everything is fully reconciled. Again, you were never receiving that prior to my time.
Is there another official reconciliation that gets used, or is this what gets used?
Well, for our board purposes, we use it, but yes, the auditors would prefer to see the town treasurer on there. So what we're going to do is, and I talked to the auditors, we're going to submit those, whether they want to use them and try to do their own. I'm not sure, how they want to go about it, but we're happy to just provide the monthly GL and the monthly bank statements, although I already know Diane gets the bank statements. Or we can give them ours and have them review it and sign off on it. Tom Tracy,
Yes.
one of the auditors, said that would suffice.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that is what they told me. But on the bottom of the reconciliation, you have both you and Marty's name on it. And
Correct.
it should only be, unless you guys are sitting there doing them together in tandem, it should be the person that's doing the
We
reconciliation.
do.
That's what they said to me.
Michelle, we do them in tandem. That's one of the duties and things that Marty and I do together when he's here on site on Thursdays.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Moving on. Any other questions on the bank reconciliations?
No.
Lastly, we have the budget. So this is the budget for 2025. Is it? Okay. Any questions on the budget for 2025?
No. Looks like,
Okay, so this is
with
as
with the exception of legal expenses, I think the budget worked out pretty well.
So right now we're showing 93,000 and we have 2 more months to include on that budget.
Mhm.
Well, technically 3 months, but,
Well, you have October.
oh
is
yeah,
on-
November and December. You're right. Yep.
Okay. There's no questions on the budget. Moving forward, old business mattress. Liz, do you want to talk a little bit on that? Who's going and registration and hotels and the whole 9 yards?
Right, so I had basically registered everybody but Bob. And what about Bob? So I did that. I asked to get billed, so we'll, get there. And basically, you probably all should have gotten an email, but it really doesn't matter. When you get there, you just tell them your name and they'll have a badge for you in a packet. As far as the hotel, however, though, you'd have to make reservations yourself. I'm not able to do that for you. I've already done it myself. Make sure you give them that you're part of the Macros conference. There is a code, and then you'll get the correct bill for it for the Macros conference, so you won't be overcharged.
Did they change the location?
Yeah, they're still in Springfield at the Marriott, but they're actually so late in December rather than
Yeah, but
November.
wasn't it always at the other one there, the other hotel?
Well, as far as, I've been here for 6 years and it's always been at the Marriott, so maybe it was before my time.
The spring one is in Hyannis.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
No, it's been at the Sheraton, 1 year, many years ago. They have to marry.
Yeah.
So
So,
the consulate, I know that.
John,
They,
you can't
I
hear me.
remember,
The Mary
Uh,
Washington?
when the Sheridan was fill up,
Yeah.
they always sent the overflow to the Marriott. And I was always in that group. And quite frankly, I thought the Marriott was nicer, but nonetheless, doesn't matter.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, if you're gonna go, Sunday's not a problem for parking. I won't be able to go until Monday morning, so I really need to get there at the crack of dawn, because if I don't, I'll have to, park in like the public parking lot, which is a garage behind the hotel. I didn't care for that last year. Fortunately, the weather wasn't bad, so it behooves you to get there early to get decent parking in their parking garage.
Can I ask a question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
There's nothing on the website about an agenda or,
Yeah, there is, the Macros website. It's at the very bottom. I did print them out. They're on my desk. I apologize, not feeling well this morning, but, there is an agenda. It just gives you an oversight of what, what they're planning, but when you get there, there'll be a three, trifold, new agenda, because they make, additions and subtractions, but it is on the website. If you go to the Macros website, there is an agenda right now.
What is the
Macros.org.
Macros website, Liz?
Sorry,
What is the Macros website HTTP address?
it is, give me a minute,
Macros.org.
right. Let's see. One second. I have them all, so.
By the way, when I email you the PowerPoint pack, I mean the PDF package, in there where you see it blue, you can click right on those links and takes you right directly there, but be that as
Yeah.
it may, that would require you having that open
Yeah.
on your computer.
So the website's https://www.macros.org. And you just want to click Fall 2025 Conference, and it says Supporting Documents Agenda, and it's right there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Liz, can you still cancel that? I never said I was going,
I can cancel it, no problem.
With the airline situation, I'm supposed to be coming up there Saturday and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna deal with December.
Yeah, okay.
I
I
never
can
told you
cancel.
I was going and I saw the thing yesterday.
Well, you've always gone, so I made an assumption, but yeah, I'll let
Well,
Kathleen.
yeah,
know
no,
that
I
you
didn't,
have
I
gone.
didn't go last year being in December, so when they moved it, I haven't gone in December.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
You are going, right?
I have a wedding.
Thanks, Harry, but,
Yeah.
I'm wedding in Florida.
Yeah.
That weekend, so I'm not sure if I'll be back.
in time?
Yeah,
So do you want her to cancel you too?
I'll get in touch with her, because if she changes, I may not end up having to go.
Okay.
It's a nephew.
Okay. All right, and Jay may or may not be talking with you, Liz, regarding his registration. What is the deadline that we have to cancel without having any penalties?
As far as the, you can walk in to the Macros conference that day and you can register. That's not a big deal.
Not
It's
to register, to cancel.
to cancel. I mean, I
The
don't even know. I can just let Kathleen know that, you didn't,
There's,
yeah.
let me interject for a second. So for the conference fee and attendance there's no fee and,
Yeah.
but the hotels are a separate entity unto themselves.
Right.
So usually, it would be, I would say at the strictest, 24 hours notice, but you should play it safe, and 72 hours would be a more broad hotel policy, but the hotel can confirm that with you when you make your reservation or prior to.
Right. so
Yeah,
you
no, I'm
have
not
until-
talking about the hotel, I'm talking about the registration fee. So you're saying there's no registration fee for the Macros conference?
Yes, yes, that is correct.
There's no fee, yeah. So
Okay.
I could just let Kathleen know that, I had to make a change. She's okay with that. I've had to do it before.
Yep.
Okay,
We've even paid for 4 or 5 board members and staff, and then even asked for a refund after it takes a little bit of time sometimes for them, but Kathleen and, we have a very nice relationship with Kathleen, Bichetti Keeley.
So there
I-
is a fee?
I'm sorry, what'd she say?
Is there a fee or not to attend the conference?
Oh, yeah,
There is
there,
no fee.
no, it costs money, yeah,
$480.
yeah, per person.
That
Okay,
covers,
I thought I just asked if there was a registration fee and you said no.
No, you said a
you asked
cancellation
if there was a
Oh,
cancellation
I
fee.
said, no, I said a registration
Well,
fee.
no, there is a registration and I, there is,
Okay, so
we
the-
talked about a bill. And
Yeah,
I
so,
asked to be
so it's
billed.
480, but you can cancel anytime and there's no penalty.
There's no penalty.
Correct.
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyone else have anything on the Macris conference? Okay, moving forward, Jake has on here new business. Jake, if you'd like to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So, it's actually, a very common theme in certain, for the last few conferences, whether it be a PERAC Day conference like Emerging Issues, or really the last three, I think, Macris conferences. The topic and subject of, cybersecurity is a prevailing theme at the conferences of late. Some retirement systems, were hacked one way or another. So they've been having a lot of the vendors, they've had speakers on it, and Jeff and his partner was one of the such speakers at Macris, and they reached out to me asking, would our board be interested in a cybersecurity policy? And basically I just said, well, I'll run that by the board, and if they find that they would like to have you come in and do a presentation and talk about all the stuff that you're expert in, I will certainly get back to you, and maybe we can have you in for December or January.
I attended a webinar on cybersecurity last month.
Mm,
I was a little disappointed. I thought they were going to talk about how it happens and the nuts and bolts, but it was really a presentation on insurance.
yes.
And the
that's
takeaway was you can't assume that that you're covered under the town's cybersecurity insurance unless it says specifically in the insurance policy that the retirement board is covered. Now, I don't know whether the town has cyber insurance, and if they do, are we mentioned in it?
That's a good question. I don't know if the town does have cybersecurity, but I don't know if the retirement board will be covered, if we need to get our own.
Fine.
See,
I know that the town
see,
does
what
provide.
what a lot of people don't understand or refuse to understand is that the retirement board is a separate entity from the town.
We do understand. but the
So
town is-
unless, wait a minute, let me finish.
Yeah,
So unless it specifically says in the policy that the retirement board is covered, it probably is not. So we should take a look at that policy and see if it
the
mentions
town
those.
provides technology services to the board. So the question is just whether, and the town's insurance does cover a lot of the town's entities. So my assumption will be like, since the town does provide technology services, we would be covered, but we should consult with the finance department for the town.
And I just want to point out that there is a cyber insurance with these two gentlemen at the conference on Monday at 1:30, just so you know.
Perfect. Okay, so, so since the majority of us are going to be at the conference, why don't we table having them out here? Until we see what they have, what their presentation's like at the conference, and if we, feel that it's something that we wanna bring back to the board, Jake, then
Yeah,
we
well,
can.
here's what we
schedule
should
that
do.
time to bring in, Bob and,
Get a copy of the insurance policy, send it to Mike Sacco, and ask him if, in his legal opinion, are we covered?
When you say, so their quote, I know the quote from this gentleman, I think you're referring to the town policy, correct?
Correct.
Okay, as Director of HR, Tatiana, could you provide the board with that, please, when you get a chance?
I do not have a copy of the town's insurance policy. The
Okay,
town's insurance policy is managed by the finance department. What I can
Okay.
do is ask the director of finance whether the town's policy covers the retirement board and report back at the next meeting.
That's fine. But do you see my point of all of this?
Yeah.
I think we need the insurance. I mean, I think it's time. I'm not sure, what the premium is or anything, but I think it would be in our best interest to have it. Either we're covered by the town or we should go out and buy it.
We're on the same
Yeah.
network, so I wouldn't see why we wouldn't be.
My feeling is, Tatiana will find out that answer, but I feel like we're covered, we're on the same network, so I don't see why we wouldn't be. But we will get a definite on that. And again, we will, listen to see what, Jeff Leiden and Murphy Insurance has to say at the conference, and if we feel it's something that we want to have them present in front of the board, we can have them come here.
Okay,
Based on all of the answers, so, when we have our December meeting, this will be on the agenda.
mhm,
And, at that point in time, we'll have the answer to, your question, Bob, on the town policy. Whether or not the finance, retirement is covered.
Okay.
And, whether or not we want these people to come out and present to us.
okay.
So that'll be what we'll be talking about in December. Any other questions on, the new business, Leiden and Murphy Insurance? Hearing none, moving forward, page 31, we're looking at the draft of the proposed 2026 budget. I do have one question on this. So when the actuary, comes out here, when KMS came out here, at the bottom of the schedule, they have administrative expenses. And for this year, they had the administrative expense line is 414,000. Our budget, that we have on the retirement is, 427. I'm thinking our budget should be matching the actuarial and the administrative expenses that are on the actuarial, because that goes into the pay down of the unfunded liability. So here for the proposed 2026, we've bumped up from. Okay, so the budget this year was 427,250.
Mhm.
And we're bumping it up to 445. She did, and we voted on the actuarial with a budget of 430. I'm thinking we should not go over that 430. Any comments? Okay, hearing no comments, I'm going to suggest that Jake redo the draft proposed to come up with a bottom line total of 430.
Mhm.
I'd also like to understand how are we, do you have a formula, Jake, for your increases? Is there
It's a mix of, for salaries, we just do, that's why it's all kind of, we just do like a 3%, we assume a 3% built-in increase to the salary line. But some of them are just on historical. So the last couple of years with disabilities, we've seen a rather large uptick, almost 100%, or at least, 60% uptick in legal expenses. That's always an unknown. So that's always, you can never really move, that's a moving target. You might have a year, which we did our first 3 or 4 years here. It was very quiet in terms of disabilities coming before the board. So we were always kind of hovering around 10,000 was a good I think we even had a surplus back then on that line item. But as soon as disabilities happen, things start to get ramped up. There's a lot of correspondence between lawyers, doctors, the board from attorney. So in the last couple of years, as the board knows, I know you and Jay are new to it, but Michelle certainly knows, is we've seen a rather large increase, even when you look at the FY25 budget that you guys looked at a few minutes ago, year to date, we're already surpassed what we anticipated, and I think we had bumped that one up to 20,000. So, you know, I can't tell you if nobody can tell you. It's like the stock market; you can't know next year how that line item will fare. It's probably better to have a cushion or a little surplus. The bigger one that you see, we're 49,000 just going on. That's our PTG contract. So I basically just increased
John,
that.
could you please mute yourself? Sorry, there's a lot of feedback. John,
Yeah, it's quiet.
could you please mute yourself so that we don't, thank
There you
you.
I think it's
Go
in the
ahead,
wire.
go ahead, Jake.
I think it's in the wire. But yeah, basically the last couple of years, you know, we've seen the PTG invoice go from like 43 to like 45 to 47. So I expect it'll probably be, I always provide a little cushion. I like to, you know, come under budget, of course. So it's I think it's a conservative budget, of course. And it's really more just a guideline.
Sorry, so I just have a question. I think we need to be able to explain the reason for the increases. It's just principles of budgeting. Like you have to be able to justify the reason for the increase year after year.
Right, so I'm gonna suggest for PTG and also for the auditing services that you reach out to the company. I know that the town of Needham, for our auditing services, it went up. I wanna say at least 25,000 from last fiscal year to the next fiscal year. So I think it would probably be a good practice to like reach out and find out what
Sure.
CBIZ is planning on charging us for 2026.
Sure.
And also, like you said, that 49,000, that's just that's a guesstimate, but you can call and get an exact on that person. The other thing that I wanted to mention, because I'm a little confused, on top you have actual 2024, projected 2025, but underneath you have 2026. Can I assume that that's actually 2025 numbers?
Can you explain what you mean by below?
Okay, so if you start at the top of the page, you've got your actual that says 2024. And you go over and it says projected 2025, then it says draft proposed 2026. And then you go to the next line where it says account number description, it says 2024, then it says 2026, and then it's blank. I'm thinking that 2026 should say 2025.
Okay, so I see the account number column, I see the description column, and I see the 2024, 20,
Well-
yeah, I see what you're saying. So the white, you're talking about the white where it says 2026?
Yes, that should be, that should
Yes,
say. 2025.
obviously, that's not a far stretch to see that should read
That's fine.
2025. And
Yeah.
then where it's blank in the blue, yes,
Yeah,
that should
that-
read
it's fine, okay.
2026.
That's fine. It's then going down to the bottom, you've got management fees are tracked below. And you've
Yep,
got 2025 management fees, but you've got November and December filled in.
that's
and
correct.
We don't have November and December management fees yet.
That's also correct.
Let me assure you that Jake is probably right.
Yeah,
They milk us at the end of the year because they have to pay those big bonuses.
yeah,
As
and
far as the budget is concerned, the 2025 total is 423, 120, and the proposal is 445. I don't think that's unreasonable. In this,
Not at all.
everybody's gonna go up on their rate. And if we can agree on the line items, we shouldn't worry about the total.
Well, then it should be it should be on the actuarial then, Bob. The
Well, that's
actuarial
right,
is
that's fine.
430.
So what?
It shouldn't go over what the actuarial has on their
Michelle,
schedule.
one thing that should go into your calculus though is that, and we want to avoid piggybacking meetings. Tatiana, please, I'm speaking for a second.
Sorry.
So if we can have quietness and a little courtesy for a second, please.
Jacob,
So-
go ahead. I hear you. Go ahead. I apologize.
So what I was trying to explain about the calculus that Michelle's using is actuaries sometimes come to us very early on in a year and they need a number in there. So we give them a very loose projection, but Bob is actually right. We should be determining what the real budget is going into the new year. If it's off by, 5, 10, 15,000, that's not a substantial enough money to move the appropriation needle of 14 million that the town's going to be paying. I'm not sure, I hope you understand that.
Yeah. It's really an insignificant amount as far as I'm concerned.
The overall projected increase to the budget is 5.2%. As a general rule, on the town side, anything over 4% has to be justified and explained. So I'm just using that as a basis for my questioning.
That's
And
fine.
that's why we're having this discourse.
Yeah, so why don't we?
And all I'm saying is that for each line that you're looking to increase, there should be a way to back up the reason for the increase.
Well, so I need to go back and we need to look at page 28 and compare it to page 31. So you've got the actuals of 2024, then you have projected 2025. So 2025, you have a budget of 427,250. And then you have actuals of 334, and I understand this is only as of October. But you have a projected number here in your salaries of 285, when the budget was only 275. And as of the end of October, we've only spent 228. I don't understand, either that number, the projected number should either be the budget or it should be the actuals of where we stand now, and then there should be another column that's your variance column that's showing on your page 28. Because this 423 does not match the budget, nor does it match the actuals with in between. When you're looking at your auditing services, you have projected 26,000. And when you look here, your auditing services, again, you have budgeted 27, you've spent 75.
Michelle, the way I approach it is that I build in a little buffer. I think we'll come under those projected 2025 numbers, which should be a positive thing for the board, especially where it seems like you and Tatiana get a little bit mired a little bit in the mud. It's just a guideline. We don't have to take it right to the penny. Why would you set yourself up for failure? Why not build a little cushion in it? It's actually very smart to do that. It makes the board look better when you come in under budget.
Right, but we're not I don't think we're setting ourselves up for failure when we're gonna be coming in under budget this year, so I don't think that we need to go up 5% on our
Every year,
budget for next
yes,
year.
exactly. If you consistently are increasing the budget by a fictional number and then coming under, that actually
Okay.
makes us look like we don't know what we're
All right.
doing.
All right, well, let me address the legal point for you, the legal line in this. So going on your theory that we should never enhance that more than 5%, well, guess what? The last 2 years, we blew that 5% way out of the water. So what I do is I take a historical context and knowing that some disabilities are still in the process of appeal and so forth. You yourself brought a gentleman to my office. That's a story for a different time, but we may have another disability coming down the line. So these are things that I'm aware of as an administrator, and all administrators are. We know these numbers. Now, I build in a little, and I don't do anything unlike most audit administrators. We build in a little cushion to play it safe, so the board always has a good face on it that we come in under budget. If you want to take it back and scale it all back, I'm happy to do so. But then please know, when you come back and wonder why you're over budget in some of these things, you should reflect upon that. That was how you guys decided to do it. I'm trying to put the best foot forward for the board. So anybody that sees it knows that, we're well managed. We're coming under budget in all of our line items.
But you're always gonna come under budget if you're
No, that's not true.
increasing it 5% every year and your costs do not do not reflect on that
Like
increase.
I said, I can scale back and make it as strict as you guys want, and
No, definitely not.
I know it's
You
it's
know,
not smart.
So it's really not about scaling up or down, it's justifying your line items. That's all I'm after. It's not
Well,
scaling up and down.
So
Well-
what would you like to find?
I
I
would
mean-
like to understand the formula for the proposed number in 26.
So you're gonna question the legal fees? Do you know what they're gonna be? They went up in
Nope.
the town, you said?
No, what you need, the basics of budgeting is that you take your historical spend
Hey,
and
look,
you
lady,
use that to
I
project. what
spent
you-
44 years in the banking industry, 30 of those years in doing budgets. I know how to do a budget.
I'll concede between
I
the
spent
two.
7 years doing budgets for the town, Bob. I'm not sure this is about.
Yeah, well, the
budgeting.
town does the same
Alright.
thing that we're doing.
Let's keep it civil. I will say this though, to find a nice compromise, and I thought Michelle had a good idea. I can call PTG and ask for their exact penny quote, and I can put it right to the penny on that line item.
I'm
They
not,
won't
I'm not
get-
saying.
They
I'm
won't
not
give it
saying
to you.
penny, I'm
They, and
just
Bob's
saying-
right. Sometimes they'll say, Jake, we
They
don't have
won't
that
give it
worked
to you
out yet.
because they're doing their budget and they're trying to figure out what their costs are gonna be, and they're not gonna give you their number this year, not knowing what their vendors and what are gonna charge them. I mean, this is a guessing game.
Your auditing firm will give you how much money they're going to charge you next year. They know that.
Yeah,
And I just think it's just worth asking. That's all.
I also
Uh,
wanna, Madam Chair, if I may, like, I'm just like looking at the travel line. Where 2004 you spent $3,000. You're projecting 7,500, of which we have spent so far barely $1,000, and you're requesting 10,000 for next year.
Yeah, that's because we came off COVID when no travel was happening.
COVID was 5 years ago. I'm talking about 24 and 25.
Actually, the travel line's a good idea. I know pretty much who goes to conferences and who cannot, but we decided that we would beef up that and assume that all 7 staff and with the exception of Marty, and by the way, he's at a funeral today. He wishes he could be here, but we assumed for the travel line that all 5 board members would be able to attend, which we know that that's not actually likely. And in fact, when PERAC and Macris set this whole thing up, there's 2 Macris annual conferences a year. They do one on the East Coast in Hyannis, and then they do one on the west part of the state in Springfield. So, and the idea was from conception that a retirement board, by the way, board members can earn all their annual educational credits if they go to one conference, either one, a year. So you don't have to go to both. It probably is a nice thing, there's money in the budget for it, then so be it. But not a lot changes legislatively, frankly, within a calendar year. So they sometimes rehash things a bit, but be that as it may, that's a good example of where we beefed up the travel line. I know we're not even gonna come
Right.
close to that.
So Jake, if we assume that everyone attends one of the conference for 7 members, that's $3,500 a year. And if we calculate about $400 in all other expenses, hotels and whatnot, per person, altogether, you're still at 6,300.
Michelle, can you please opine? Because we went on your directive last year when you brought this up, just as Tatiana did, and Sandy, we can even go back to the minutes. It would be nonsensical, frankly, but we could go back to the minutes and find where you were asking us to increase that in an event that, everybody were to attend. That's why we went with that greater number a couple years ago. If I pull out a budget from before, it was more in line with what Tatiana was saying. But I
And-
think this is, the conversation around some of these line items is, you're welcome to do it, but it's a little
Remember.
futile in some regards.
Why don't we limit, I think this is really a waste of my time, but we want to talk about the travel budget. Why don't we limit the amount of participants that can go?
Yeah,
They could either go to
just-
one or
We
go
don't-
to
we
the
don't
other.
have to. We don't have to. I'm saying the calculation that I just did, assuming that all of us will go to one of the conferences a year,
Mhm.
plus expenses still comes way under the projected requested cost.
And
Well,
that-
you're looking at just Tatiana, this year, if 6 of us went, it's $2,900 just for the conference tickets.
Seven.
We're
Yep,
not
yep.
talking about the hotel.
Plus 480 times,
I did,
7.
I did,
Night
yeah,
times
seven.
night.
I did times 7. I didn't even do it times 6. I did times
No,
7.
but you gotta do the per night, so you've
So
got 4
500
nights.
times,
So
500 times
the
7.
travel includes mileage, tolls,
Right.
and the hotel room, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Michelle was, I heard her, 500,
Right, where we
it's
go,
480, but
Vegas?
500 times 7 people is 3,500, plus Liz is 2,900. So now you're up at basically 6,500, whatever that is. And then, any extra things, some of the food costs and things like that, and mileage and so forth.
Okay, so I
But-
guess I think my point got missed in all of this. I'm not saying that you need to go up and down. I'm saying that there needs to be some justification for the numbers that we're throwing on the budget.
But
That's
they-
the end of my point, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, but there is justification.
Yeah, there is
This
justification.
past spring was the only one with a Hyannis. And last December was the first year they moved it to December, and I usually go, but I didn't go because I'm down in Florida.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we table this? And why don't we look at the line item and anything over 3%? We'll ask the administrator to justify that. And if it works out, fine. If not, we'll reduce it.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
can I
mean,
ask a
at the end of-
question?
Mhm.
Is that all right, Jake?
Of course, I do anything that you guys ask, but where I try to infuse a little common sense into things, I always seem to get a lot of pushback, and I don't understand why it seems that I go through this every single year, and I can scale it really in a way. It's no skin off of my back. I can scale these numbers down to the tightest possible thing. I just don't
Well,
think that's of
Well, why
of great value.
don't we do this?
Hold on
Why
a
don't we
second,
do this?
Bob,
I'm-
I
I'll
wanna
make-
ask,
why don't
Bob,
we do-
Bob, I just wanna ask a question. Okay, Liz, the cost for the conference itself, are you including that in the travel line? Because shouldn't that be under the line of education and training? And you don't have a budget there right now, Jake. So can we take that amount of money out of the travel line and move it up to the education and training line?
Sure. So Michelle, for you, we'll call it 5 and 5.
Yeah,
What's that?
whatever you guys want to do is fine. So we have that, then you have your hotel and obviously you have your gas
Right.
expenses, so that would have to be under travel. Whichever you
Yes,
guys want to do.
Exactly. I think the registration fee should go into education and training.
Mhm.
Okay, So
Yeah,
so that'd be like
right, right.
$6,000.
So we haven't solved anything. Why don't we do this? I have a great idea. I'll make a motion that we approve the budget as is. Do I get a second?
No, sir.
I'm-
John seconded it.
Okay, I'm taking a roll call vote. Mrs. Swanson,
No.
Mr. Kowicki? Mr. Merles? Mr. Merles?
Bobby here, say,
Mr. Merles? I'm doing a roll call vote.
You're kind of breaking up a little.
I'm doing a roll call vote. Mr. Merles?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Steves? I am suggesting that you tweak it a little when we come back in December, and Mr. Merles is suggesting that we pass it as is.
I thought he agreed to move the five votes.
Well, then that would be a no vote. take a read and that's where we're going.
And it is just a draft. So the whole point is to make edits to, well, I mean, you could approve a draft.
Madam Chair, I'm gonna move that we strike the prior motion since the vote on the actual budget is not it's not noted in the minutes. So we cannot take a vote. This was a draft listed on the agenda items.
Yeah, so we always do actually provide edits to the, so that is very common what we're doing. But I think sometimes where I used the analogy of getting stuck in the mud, I feel like sometimes some people on the board get down to that level of minutia. And I don't know how much service that does really at the end of the day, but.
All right,
Okay,
so.
so we don't have a vote, right?
No, we're striking the vote. Jake, you will go back and get those two numbers. We'll do a justification as to the amount. I totally agree on the legal expenses, 100%. And I just want to make sure that the auditing services and the actuarial services are in line with what they're going to be charging us. And I'm not asking for the penny, I'm asking for the ballpark.
Okay,
So, and then we can take that travel and put part of it where the education line is and go from there.
Okay.
Also, I would like to suggest that the management fees, if they are going to be estimated, that you just put an EST after your two amounts. If you're coming to say, well, this is what my management fees are gonna be, I'm thinking are gonna be. This is the estimate for what we don't have yet at the end of the year. I understand why you did it, but I
Yeah,
think that it should be listed as an estimate, just so that the reader knows what is a true number and what is an estimated number.
Sure, the reader is only the board and I suppose auditors, but, so yes, I'll include a footnote. I'll leave it there, but, okay. Now, Michelle,
you.
if I may, before the board closes, I'd like to, I drafted a letter that I would like to read to the board. Is there any other business that you want to take care of before I do that?
No, there is not. Does anyone have any objections with Jake reading a letter to the board? Okay, Jake, go ahead.
All right. Dear Board, as your board administrator, it's my duty and responsibility to inform you that it is unlawful to enter executive education without giving the subjects of the discussion their legal right to attend, per the Attorney General's guidance enclosed, but I have them down on the table for you. And what I always do for every chair, Michelle, is when you go into executive session, you have to go in under one of the reasons, and there's 10, but really reasons 3 through 10 go into collective bargaining, which really does not apply. Just like when we go into disability discussions, the person has to be given 48 hours notice. We always give them like a month. They're also able to have representation there. And those are all by the Attorney General's guidelines. So I always, and then there's rules inside that packet. You'll have rules on how to conduct yourselves when you don't have legal representation or counsel there to guide you guys. And then there's also rights to the individual or individuals. And by the way, it's interesting that the executive session is ultimately actually determined by the subjects. They have a choice whether, now most people, when they're talking about medical history and so forth, they do like to stay private in executive session. But technically, if you read the Attorney General's guidelines, really, ultimately, the board can go into executive session, but then you are to ask the person or persons if they would like to remain in executive session or go into open session. Now, here's my letter. As your board administrator, it's my duty and responsibility to inform you that it's unlawful to enter executive session without giving the subjects of the discussion their legal right to attend per the Attorney General guidelines enclosed. The chair informed me that she and the director of HR will be reassigning the duties of the retirement office. As a certified retirement administrator, I have serious concerns that this unprecedented initiative and breach of professional courtesy undermines the authority of the administrator and the operational efficiency to carry out all the duties under his or her purview. Therefore, I've included the job descriptions for each of the 3 positions of the retirement office. As you'll see, the depth and breadth of what we manage is complex. We're a separate, all-encompassing entity and office that needs to be managed by a proven, experienced administrator. This is why retirement boards have an administrator and staff. A retirement administrator knows the strengths and capabilities of his or her staff and are tasked with running the day-to-day operations of the retirement system on behalf of the board. The board provides oversight, but the administrator runs the day-to-day operations. Now, I have an email from Michelle. I'm not going to go into all of it, but of course, the board is, as far as I'm concerned, none of it's private, but between me and the board. And, but it was hard to hear that without the other board members' consent, that the chair and the HR manager, which is also very new to the retirement system in general, want to have the ability to assign and basically reassign all the duties. And I would even beg the question, I don't even know if what we do on a day-to-day basis throughout the course of a month and weeks and months and years, the year. So, you have a full, you guys can commence if you want, of course. I'm not gonna, I can't do anything really stop you, but I can only advise you. But I find that a little troubling. It's unprecedented that in my 6 years here, I've never had that done like that. And the professional courtesy, I've never, and I have a pretty extensive history, MathWorks, Babson College, and other places, the city of Newton. I have never, ever not been part of my own review. And I know it's probably the review of the staff members as well. But that is improper, it's unprofessional, and it does nothing to, have a good working relationship between the administration staff and the board. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys as your board administrator.
Well, I thank you for that, Jake. So as you say, you report to the board, you don't report to one person.
Or 2 people.
As the chair and having to do your review, I was doing an executive session so that the other members of the board could have a say in your review.
Why wouldn't you?
If you do not want that, then I will be more than happy
To do it
to
in
judge you on my own, as it may be. So I
Wait a
just
minute,
thought that you
Here's-
might like it better to have the board do it. So that is,
Michelle.
Wait a minute. Here's how it should happen. Jake should do his people, and he should forward us to the chair. The chair should do the administrator's review and send it to the board. Email or probably not email, but maybe via mail. And then have a conversation with each board member and get their approval. I mean, the open meeting law and all of that handicaps what we can do. So, I mean, it's a little cumbersome, but the
If I
board,
may-
the board has a right
how
to,
did Sandy do it last year?
I've been on the board for 20 years. I don't know what anybody makes. This
How
is
did-
the
how did
first,
Debbie do
this
it?
is
Give
the
me all
first time I've ever seen a job description, and I've never seen a review of any staff member.
Madam Chairman.
Yes,
I think there's a point of clarification here. The purpose of the executive session is not to perform the annual review. What led to the thought of the executive session is because the board wants to convene alone in the structure of the department. And, I don't know that we need to necessarily go into details as to our intentions, but it does fit within the purpose of the executive session as
With all,
per. the
with all
legislation.
due respect, Tatiana, but you should be having counsel advise you. You're not a lawyer, and the Attorney General's guidelines, I don't know about everybody else's interpretation, but in my 6 years here, Michael Sacco, Chris Collins, Catherine Hesse with Murphy, Hesse, Toomey and Lehane, they all have even mentioned to me, Jake, you have a good legal eye about you. You probably could even have pursued that, earlier on. But so, that's the way I read it, but that's that in black and white. It's not about the feeling what the board wants to do. It's about what is proper by law. So,
So what I'm saying is that the intention of the executive session was not to perform your annual review. That annual review.
you're gonna talk about,
Jake, I'm still talking. You talked about courtesy 2 seconds ago. The purpose of the executive session actually fits into the first purpose of the executive session as noted in the law. And
no.
we're not talking about your performance review. I do agree that should be done in open session. And we should probably plan for that, to have the board do a performance review of Jake Cole as administrator in a future open session. The purpose of this executive session fits within the legal requirement to have it called.
Again, as your administrator, I would recommend, and if I didn't know the answer to something, I would search out for the board, a letter, an email, they're one and the same, or invite Michael Sacco or one of our counsel to opine on the legality of something.
I agree with that.
I think you're going down a dangerous road, Tatiana, that not just with this, but like anything you do, even on the town side of things, I would not opine on legal matters because you're not a lawyer and you don't want to put anybody in jeopardy or the town. Or the
Jake, I'm
retirement.
thinking not to make comments about my role as the town directors of HR. I'm here in the capacity of retirement board member. Is that
Oh,
clear?
yeah.
Sure.
Hey, look,
Thank
the
you.
most disturbing part of this letter was
Push it.
the second paragraph. The chair informed me that that she and the director of HR will be reassigning the duties of the retirement office. What does that mean? And if we're going to change a policy, the board should have had an opportunity to discuss this and to vote.
That's what
exactly what we're
we're doing,
here.
and that's what we were going to do in the executive session. The director, Jake, is actually jumping ahead.
Oh,
I
that's
gave
baloney. That's,
Jake a heads up as to what I wanted the executive session for. I'm gonna switch gears here and I'm gonna answer your question. No, the retirement system is a separate legal entity and is not covered by the Maya policy. So,
Okay,
Bob,
okay.
to answer your earlier question as to cybersecurity insurance, we're not covered.
okay.
All right,
What does
Why
that
don't you-
have to do with this? What? So,
I-
so the chair and I like the way it's put, the town's HR director are going to decide on changes in the office status. I mean, what changes do you want to
So-
make?
I am going to, I'm going to, nix the executive session, and I'm going to go forward. And,
We'll do it in open session next meeting.
we will do open session and, I guess we'll take it from there.
That's fine.
It's,
Jake, if you can send me Michael Sacco's contact information, please, and I'm gonna make just one more distinction. When I'm sitting here, I am a member of the retirement board. I am a member of the retirement board. I am not the director of HR. There is a bit of overlap because the retirement board voted a long time ago to adopt the town policies when they applied to personnel for the retirement board. So that does happen. The town policies, when it comes to personnel, do apply to Jake and Liz. So there are certain processes, town processes, that have to be followed in the personal administration of the personal board staff. I know it's a little confusing because I'm both, but I want to make that clear.
Okay. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna table this until the next meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and in the meantime, I think the review process should go on. It's the end of the year, right? So Jake should forward to the chair.
I did
His
that 5 weeks,
recommendations,
Bob.
and the chair should write up her recommendations and submit them to the board. I mean,
Okay,
Yep.
does that make sense?
yes, it does.
No,
Absolutely.
I just want to say, on the surface, because, I could have a chair that's completely against me too, and you know what? I don't even know if I don't even have that confidence that that's not the case any longer. Like I said, this is unprecedented. And, my words I chose carefully in my letter because with all due respect to anybody, so it's not, no disrespect to anybody. And it was very unpleasant for me to have to write that letter.
Well,
Well, I'm not
Um,
seeing that.
But what
That
is
letter.
very concerning to me, and I would say this, even if I were not your board administrator and just a consultant that maybe was part of a hiring committee when you guys were gonna hire a new administrator. Not that you would
Yeah.
probably want my input, but you know what? You have to know what goes on in the office. You didn't even ask me for job descriptions. What I gave you is the essential part. Some of you have no idea, with all due respect, you have no idea what we manage as an entity from day to day, week to week, month to month. Some of you that are more tenured do have a good flavor for that. But to hand those delegation of duties over to a novice is very concerning.
I think, well, I
Okay,
think,
Jake, so I
I
don't
think-
have a copy of that letter that you're talking about that you submitted to everybody else. So.
Neither do I.
It would be
I
nice to
think,
have.
I
a
thought I
copy
just
of
brought,
that letter.
I just brought the packet
And
down to
then
you guys.
secondly, I think I think we're done here, so, if anyone wants to,
No,
we had a
I think in fairness, I mean, this could be a positive thing. I've read over the job descriptions, and I'm confused about some things. And I think
I've had the job
with the administrator present, I'd like to say, what about this and what about that? And could we do this better? Or do you need more help? Or, I mean,
I think we should do that at first.
we ought to look at it in a positive way.
I did, Bob. You know what? I did. When Michelle was talking to me, when she said, I feel like your review this time and going forward should be before the board because you report to the board. And I thought that was refreshing and good, even though Michelle is often very critical. But you know what? When she said you're not invited, I said, how can I not be invited to my own review? I said, I was astounded. I didn't even know what to say. I probably just had a blank face.
That would be like me asking you to write your own review and then turn your review in. Okay, so ultimately, when you're writing Liz's review, are you sitting there with Liz and going over everything with her as you're writing the review? Or do you write the review and then do you go and sit down with her, go over the review, take her responses and then edit the review and then that's what you turn in? That's what I was trying to accomplish.
Okay,
I was going
that's
for the
exactly
first
what I-
part, gathering information. And when I was gathering information, you did not necessarily need to be in the room for me to gather information. Here, then it was gonna be discussed with you, and then it would be tweaked. But we will do it the reverse way, Jake, and I will do your review. That's not a problem.
Wait a minute. Reviews are a double-edged sword. Review time is attaboy, you did a great job. On the other hand, this is what I'd like you to consider. There are always positives and there's always negatives in a review performance. It's how it's
I'm well aware of
handled.
that. Been a
It's how
supervisor
it's
for-
handled. And that's the real world. You just can't sit there, write a review because you think the person that sits next to you is a great person. And then it's got to be constructive. You have to say, you did a good job. You should outline some highlights of what positive happened during the year. But on the other hand, maybe we could do this better, or we could change this. You know, that's the process, and it's a very important one.
I agree.
You know,
Madam
and
Chair,
you know,
motion
other things in reviews, we always attendance. Are people late? Do they take long lunch hours? They take time off? You know, it's all part of the process. So you can't go into, I hated review times. I hated getting them from my superior, and I hated giving them to my subordinates because there was always, you did a great job, but on the other hand, I think you could have done that better. Now, that was it. And we made them sign them, and I had to sign them. And then they had to be reviewed in HR to make sure the procedure was correct.
Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second,
Bye, Jake.
Hold, I got one more item.
Roll call vote.
Do I have one more question I have to ask?
Yes, Mr. Corky.
What's the status of the code? We were gonna do a vote or something on raising the limit. What's the situation with that and the funding decision?
oh, yeah.
We had that meeting, we had the emergency meeting, and we took a vote on the
Yeah.
COLA, so now I need to go in front of the finance committee.
Yep.
And it needs to get put on the town meeting warrant. And so we'll see if the finance committee and the select board agree to put it on the warrant.
You took,
I need to jump over 2 hurdles right now. And once I jump those 2 hurdles and it gets on the
So-
warrant, then it's up to the.
So we haven't done anything about it right, as of right now, correct?
well, you voted on a
Have
three,
it, we voted to have it put on the May warrant. And
Right,
in order for it to go on the May warrant, I need to go in front of the finance committee and the select board to present my argument as to why why we wanna go up from being in the middle of the pack to one of the top 5 communities at a high level.
okay.
So
and
When are you
then,
gonna do-
yep,
when is that gonna happen?
it's not gonna happen until probably January, February, I believe. January is when they go in front of when I go in front of the finance committee.
What's the deadline for getting on the town warrant?
It's already on the, it's already part of it, Bob.
Okay.
It's part, going in front of the finance committee is part of, like, everyone submits their budgets. We submitted, I go in front of the finance committee, I think it's end of February is when they wrap everything up to throw the warrant together. So it's out there.
Okay,
The town manager is aware of it, everybody's aware of it. It will be on the agenda for me to sit in front of the respected committees to present our argument.
okay.
and then then after well, if it passes, if any initiative passes, retirement related, passes town meeting, then we would at the subsequent board meeting vote to approve the COLA base increase if it passes town meeting. And
We
that's what
already-
did.
We already did that. If it passes, I don't think we have to come back to another vote. It just automatically goes on July 1st.
Okay, all right.
But it's in
I
there
mean,
for the
I could be
20,000,
wrong, but,
correct?
we will verify that, but we've got a few months ahead of us in order to verify that.
But it's in
I
there for
don't
the
believe,
20,000,
this
correct?
year we took a second vote in May or June, Jake.
I thought John made the motion, but yes, they voted on schedule A5, which we kept the fully funded year the same as 2032. It with a COLA base of 20,000.
Right.
And then
We don't
yep.
need to rehash this. I had a roll call, suggested termination of the meeting by Tatiana, a second by Mr. Steves. I'm looking for roll call. Mr. Merles,
Yes,
Mr. Kowicki,
Yay.
Mr. Steves?
Yes.
Mrs. Swanson?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you. Goodbye. We will see you next month.
December
Yeah, and-
17th.
Thank you.
Stop.